According to World Bank estimation, the waste generation will increase as much as 70% from 2.01 billion tons to 3.40 billion in 2050. And the developed countries, which contribute around 16% of world's population, produce waste of around 34% of world's garbage. Yeah, this garbage produced are natural process. There's no wrong in that. But the problem arises when these garbage are not handled properly. And do you know that 35% of garbage that is produced goes to landfills, while 11% undergoes the incineration process, and only 13% of it are recycled, while 33% goes to open areas, which are very harmful to us. And these lower income countries, where 93% is either thrown in open areas or burned down. And for the information, I'm saying that burning 1 ton of paper produces around 750 kg of carbon dioxide. Isn't it so harmful, right? Or else this waste are either thrown in the water bodies, which causes some many health issues and imbalance in the ecosystem. You would have also heard about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, that is around 1.6 million square kilometer. Not just this land or oceans. These humans have also successfully spread the garbage in space. The satellites roaming in our Earth's orbit is causing waste in Earth's outer orbit. Around 128 million objects are orbiting Earth, and the size of which are larger than a millimeter. And about 2000 active satellites are orbiting Earth at this moment, and also 3000 of them are dead, which are orbiting. We will see how does this garbage get accumulated over years, and how harmful are these, and how can we manage them. Around 40% of waste produced in worldwide comes from food and other green products, which can be minimized to a great extent. And rest 40% comes from papers, cardboards and plastics, which can be recycled, and usage of this plastic can be reduced also. Not only these lands, oceans are also harmed by the waste. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is an area where we can see garbage floating on the surface of the water, which covers over 1.6 million square kilometer, that has 1.8 trillion pieces of plastics, which weighs around 80,000 tons. In reality, these patches are mostly covered of tiny pieces of plastics, and these are called as microplastics, and 70% of these sinks down to the bed, which causes imbalance in ocean ecosystem. And also many sea animals and ocean animals thinks this as their food and feed upon them. For example, the sea turtles often eat of this plastic bag thinking that it is a jelly, which is their favorite food. But this causes death also. Since these microplastics form a layer on the surface of the oceans, they block the sunlight. Due to this, the sunlight doesn't reach to the plankton and algae that are below, and that causes an imbalance in ecosystem. And the condition in the space is also worse. There are millions of objects that are orbiting in Earth's orbit. Some of them are in lower part of Earth's atmosphere so that they can re-enter, and they usually get burned up while re-entering. But many of them are above the higher altitudes, and they can't enter into Earth's atmosphere, and it may take up hundreds of years and even thousands of years to return them. There is a popular syndrome called as Kessler syndrome. If there are too much junk in the space, then it could result in chain reaction. What do you mean by this chain reaction? See, suppose there are two junks, they'll collide with each other, then they will produce another junk. That junk will collide with another junk, producing another junk, and this chain goes on, and this is very harmful. Now we will see how can we follow some methods to reduce this waste. One of the waste method is plastic backpacks, and the another method which is called as pay as you throw. This was applied by South Korea, and you will not believe that the country which was producing 1.3 kg per person per day waste in 1994, it reduced to 0.95 kg in 2014, and the recycling rate rose from 15.4% to 59%, and the landfill food waste saw a drop from 97% to about 2%. Isn't it a so great thing? Now we will see how we can reduce the junk in space. So what we can do is we can drag down the dead satellites, and for this scientists say that either we can do that by putting large, that means a huge net over it, and pulling it to the lower orbits where it gets automatically burned down, or else using magnets also we can do this. But there are very small tiny pieces which can't be dragged down or pulled down through these methods. So we have to find better solution for this. What are your thoughts about this? Comment it down, and please do like, share and subscribe. Jai Hind.